everything, or to become a god? To stand with us, or against us?
MMOs have long lingered under the tutelage of Tolkien. Sci-fi and superheroes have sometimes had their day, but dirks and dragons still rule the roost. The Secret World champions a modern-day horror setting, while also attempting to break some boundaries by introducing puzzle-solving mysteries.
It's open season on whatever's got no right to walk or crawl here.
Should this secret be kept quiet, or will this occult sideshow achieve mainstream status?
On my terms, not yours.
Something has gone terribly wrong here, far beyond the earthquakes, locust swarms, and rain of fire.
Skipping through quest descriptions, dialogue, and well, anything skippable is the default MO for many MMO players. Sure, role-playing servers in the Old Republic have certainly raised the narrative ceiling, but lore tends to lag far behind skill trees and loot in terms of importance. The Secret World puts a big emphasis on weaving its tales of the macabre. All myths are real, and secret societies have you exploring the entire spectrum of the supernatural. Zombies and mermen terrorize a New England town, mummies and cultists are warring in Egypt, and no classic cliché goes unmentioned.
But there's someone else too. Someone with a lot of resources and friends in the highest places.
Quests are delivered through long monologues and overacted but entertaining cutscenes with the earnest manner of a community theater performance. Serious matters are often sandwiched between puns, and it can take a while to find the main thread, but when it takes hold, this MMO can feel more like a single-player RPG as you race to find out what happens next.
Your princess is in another castle.
With places like Lovecraft Lane and callouts to other video games, The Secret World has the distinct aroma of a well-circulated internet in-joke, with collectible lore icons peppering the game's original backstories. You'll groan, smirk, and eat it up like the modern pulp it is.
You'd think with all the hours I put into Left 4 Dead, they'd let me carry a gun.
With the buzzing of magic bees, you awaken, filled with a magic ability offered to one of 3 secret societies. Create a young Adonis or Aphrodite, join the group that floats your boat, and start investigating the paranormal. The Secret World would like to make you think it's broken from tradition with no levels or classes, but in actuality these tropes have been tied to weapons, and acquiring experience to unlock different skills feels suspiciously close to traditional leveling. The gear fetishism so prevalent in many MMOs is muted in The Secret World. You'll still strive for better equipment, although the weapons are modestly adorned, and talismans, standing in for stat-improving armor, offer no ornamentation at all.
No. Too much visibility on the street. They're listening. They're always listening.
The clothes that your character wears can be purchased with in-game currency, real-world cash, or earned from specific quests. Showing off your fashion sense through pret-a-porter duds is a nice touch, even if it doesn't broadcast your baller-level stat development. It's the quests that make The Secret World shine. The land is filled with colorful characters and cast-off detritus that open the world up with various tasks. You'll still need to commit to routine slaughter of specific enemy types, but there's a strong sense of escalation, and interesting things can happen in between bouts of bloodshed. The environments that harbor these challenges are also exquisitely detailed. Places as mundane as deserts or forests feel like much more than a simple swath of sand or trees. PvP has the 3 factions duking it out in one persistent war zone and 2 smaller arenas. The ongoing war can strangely feel like running laps to capture points, sometimes avoiding the other factions entirely, while the arenas favor straightforward en masse onslaughts. There's some competitive fun to be had, but this aspect of the game lacks polish and generally feels like an aside. With no PvP in the story zones, this is as good as it gets. The only other options are the under-attended free-for-all fight clubs found in each hub. It can take some time to acclimate to the Secret World, but with a bit of experience under your belt, it really can become a magical place. The plunder might feel ho-hum in the game's grand scheme, but the quests themselves are often riveting, so long as you aren't stymied by a bug.
And you may be feeling some discomfort from the microchip that I grafted to your spinal column.
Funcom's marketing department would have you believe that the Secret World's combat is a new beast, where quick reflexes will save your butt. In practice, it's still the steady rhythm of button presses as standard attacks bank energy for power attacks and ability cooldowns expire. There's a dodge ability to use when enemies telegraph their uber attacks, and physical proximity comes into play on occasion, but while it's engaging, it's hardly revolutionary. Abilities do tend to play off each other in interesting ways, so exploring various skill combinations can be fun, though it can take a while to decode the game's stats and terms for something that really gels.
Connect the dots.
There's often just a little more than meets the eye in the secret world. More complex missions will have you using items to break up combat, and stealth expeditions asking you to avoid it completely. Even small side jobs, often triggered by examining particular objects in the world, will feature some sort of twist. The instance dungeons focus on challenging boss battles that exhibit a puzzle-like nature and reward success with some of the game's best equipment. Investigations are where the real brain-bending takes place. Esoteric knowledge and math skills come in handy with an in-game web browser letting you research Bible verses and other clues. There's a smidge of grunt work involved, like decoding Morse code, but for the most part, the puzzles are devious and fun.
I didn't actually expect that. I had thought you were dead.
Beyond the brain power needed to solve the puzzles, there's surprisingly a little bit of Mario in the mix. Jumping is no longer just an impish impulse while running from point A to B. The secret world asks you to look before you leap with a carefully timed jump from time to time. There's no falling damage to worry about, and with hidden honeycombs of lore secreted away, it's sometimes worth taking a tumble. This adds a pleasant layer of exploration beyond beelining to waypoint after waypoint and accruing quests. Wandering can be its own reward. The downside to these adventures, from the smallest side mission to an epic enigma, is that many are buggy at launch, forcing you to put them on the back burner. Because the complexity of the tasks goes well beyond the typical kill 10 bunnies routine, it can be difficult to know if the quest is broken or if you're just missing something vital, which can be hugely frustrating. The first round of patches fixed some of these issues. Still expect to see a constant stream of game chatter about bugged out quest lines in the game's immediate future.
누구랑 같이 있었냐고? 이 새끼가 피 터지게 한번 맞아 봐야 입을 열겠구만 이거. This is the Hollow Earth.
The secret world does a good job of breathing life into the undead and the otherworldly. Even traditional types of enemies all have some sort of edge. There may be only a few zones, but each is plotted with abundant detail. Combat effects are as blasé as the combat, which cycle through identical animations like a monotone mantra. Cutscenes are pleasant to watch, even with the hammy and dramatic deliveries, which makes the poor lip syncing and clipping that sometimes pop up much more regrettable.
You find out what those people died for, and you bring a reckoning.
As for the mystic savants that populate the world, gym membership may be clearly enforced, but none of the secret societies operate the fashion police, though the Templars have probably considered it.
With a little...
Let us work to ensure their suffering is keener.
The word artifice often has a negative connotation. Here, it's the careful, thoughtful deception that makes the secret world stand out. The vainglorious plot and meticulous landscapes of cliché will draw you in place of base compulsions to hit a level cap or maximize a gear score. If you can stomach the horrors of the night, as well as road combat and occasionally glitched gameplay, you might just be the perfect pledge for the secret society.
When you bleed the land eventually bleeds you back.
That wave tin is some bullshit.